Hello, and welcome to this video on using the Google Web Store. Now, the Google Web Store contains a variety of different apps, extensions, themes, and games, many of which are free, and you can use these to enhance the functionality of your Google Chrome browser. Not everybody is completely aware of the functionality that's available there, but I recommend you get used to it and use it. Okay, to start with, how do I get to the web store? Well, there are a variety of ways. One way would be simply to search for it. If you type Google Web Store, the first couple of hits will get you there. This link is going directly to the apps section, and this is going to extensions, but it doesn't matter very much. When you get there, you'll see that you can easily move between the different sections, or you can just click on Chrome Web Store to get back to kind of a generalized view. We'll look at this menu in detail in a few minutes. Now, notice that as I described before, there are four basic categories: apps, games, extensions, and themes. Themes are just the look of your browser, etc., and we're not going to cover those, nor are we going to cover games, although you may find some good educational games in there. Okay, if you're logged into an account that's part of a Google Apps domain, you'll find another option down at the bottom that will say for, and then the name of your district domain. So if my domain was @jsmithschools.net, it would say for jsmithschools.net, and it would be those applications, extensions, etc. that were approved or listed by your district. Now, within Google Apps, you should know that your administrator has the ability to restrict additions, such as apps or extensions, or to limit them to ones that are approved. So that's where that last option would come in handy. Now, there are other ways to get to the store. And one of the best ways is to use your bookmark toolbar. Now, you can see that mine isn't on. It almost always is, but I've shut it off for this video. So if you're in Google Chrome and you go to the Settings button and Bookmarks, you can choose Show Bookmark Bar, and the first icon over on the left should be Apps. When you go there, it's going to show you your installed apps, and also should have a link to the web store. And if it doesn't, you can add it, and that will get me right back here into the web store. One last option is to type into your browser bar Chrome://apps. And you can see that's an alternate way to get into the same area. And your web store icon is here. And the only reason I show you that's a little more difficult, it would be easier to turn on your browser bar. But I wanted to show you that because there's also a parallel site or location called Chrome://extensions. And this will show you, instead of your apps, your extensions, and will allow you, more importantly, to enable, disable, or remove them. And there are actually apps and extensions that would allow you to manage this, but if not, if you choose not to install one of those, this is a great way to get in here, and we'll look at this in more detail in a later video. So right now I'm just going to click that and go to the web store, and we'll start to look at how we can search for what we want. But before we go any further, I want to emphasize that from the user experience, the difference between apps and extensions is not very material. Extensions tend to do more specific things and review the overview. It'll give a better explanation. But in either case, once they're installed, you simply use them. So from the user's perspective, there's not a lot of difference outside of the extent of functionality, but the user doesn't have to distinguish between an app or an extension. Now, I can choose to distinguish between either apps themselves or things that are simply website based. However, this is a distinction I almost never make because it really doesn't impact me in any way. Categories: education, academic resources, family, foreign languages, teacher, and administrator tools. Okay. There's also categories for games. And if you're interested in using this for things outside of the classroom, outside of your profession, and we all have lives outside of our profession, there are other categories you might be interested in as well. I'm just going to choose education for now. There are some features you can include here. If you're interested in free applications, you want to check that one. Things created by Google themselves, you can do this, but there are a lot of third-party apps, and I wouldn't exclude those at all. If you want something that's also available for your Android device, your phone or your tablet, you can check this, although many of them are. If you want something that's going to run offline when you're not connected to the internet, that's an option. And something that works specifically with Google Drive. So if you're looking for something that's going to interface with Google Docs, sheets, slides, forms, etc., you could check that. You can also limit your search by rating. So I want things that are 4-star or up, I'll choose this. But if right now that's not important to me, I'll just leave it unselected. And you can see the ratings for the various apps and or extensions are going to be shown right below them. So here's one that's plotty graphs that's only 3.5 stars. If I say 4 and up, we're not going to find that anymore. We're only going to find 4-star and up apps. Now once you have your settings within your filters, and by filters I mean categories, features, ratings, etc., you can simply search using the search box to narrow down your search even more. So now I'm searching for Classroom. So there's Google Classroom. And notice that once I do my search, even though I could limit it by apps, but I don't really need to, and usually I don't really want to. Because if I keep that clear, it's going to list my apps first, my extensions second, and themes, which I'm not particularly interested in, third. And some of these we'll come back and actually take a look at. Add to Classroom is a nice one. Share to Classroom is a nice one if you're using Google Classroom. You may find that the search isn't perfect, and like anything else, you may use multiple searches, different searches. You may find references to particular apps or extensions through an article you read on the web or through a colleague, etc. And if you know the name, you can always find it. Okay, let's take a look. How would we actually install an app or an extension? So under apps, this simply says add to Chrome, Zero Noise Classroom. And this is a free noise level display and stopwatch for Cooperative Classroom. It helps students be aware of the noise level in the room. Oh, so that's kind of interesting. So I'll say add to Chrome. It's going to ask for a confirmation, and it's going to tell me what it can do. So it can use my microphone. So essentially I would keep this running. The microphone would pick up the noise in the classroom and create a display. So at this point, if I want to start this application or run it, I'm simply going to find it here in the apps, which I can get to here, and click it to open it. Now notice also I clicked on Add to Chrome right away, but perhaps I wanted to review it a little bit before I did that. And to get some basic information about it, you can simply click on this side of the screen. So basically if I click there, it's going to bring up a window. This would say Add to Chrome, but since I've already added, it now says Launch App. Okay, and most often there are either a series of slides or a video here to show you something about the particular app. Over on the right will be a description. Along the top you can find reviews, support, and things that might be related or things that might do similar types of tasks according to Google. Okay, so let's take a look at that, see if we haven't installed something. If I say Splash Classroom and click over here, you can see it now says Add to Chrome instead. If we go to the extension section, let's try Share to Classroom. Okay, same setup. Add to Google Classroom. Oh, and we just are not running across one that happens to have a video, but they do. Some of them do. Okay. Once something is installed, you can come back, click on this button, and then give a rating to the application if you'd like. Write a review if you'd like, and publish it. I'm not going to do that. If you'd like to share this with some friends or colleagues, you can click the share button, and you can either do that through Google Plus or simply click Gmail. Since we're logged in, it will open up my default Gmail and start a message for me. So basically it's putting in my subject line, given a link and a very quick checkout, given the name of it and a link to it, and all I have to do is add the recipients and send it, which I'm not going to do at the moment. If I no longer want an app, one way to uninstall it is simply to come to my apps, right click on it, and say remove from Chrome. And that's it. If this was an extension, and let's say, let me find one in here. Well, first of all, some of these you'll notice are enabled and some are not enabled. So these are active and available to me right now. However, if I uncheck it, then this is no longer available to me at the moment. I'm going to recheck that one, and I'm going to say this one I don't want anymore at all. I can see some details about it if I want, but I can remove it directly from the Detail tab. Or if I knew I didn't want it, I could remove it from the trash can. Now this is a good thing to know how to do, especially with extensions, because you may find that it is possible some of your students or even you accidentally may install something and it might come with some junk, like some type of ad tracker or thing that's going to pop up a lot of ads to you. It doesn't happen too often, but if you find that the Chrome browsers are all of a sudden acting very differently, giving you a lot of pop-ups, a lot of advertisements, come to these extensions and look in here. Find something. They're usually pretty easy to identify just by their name. And then simply remove it. I wouldn't even disable it. I mean, if you don't want to, just remove it. They're very easy to add back in. And the same with your extensions. If you're not sure you want to use it anymore, take it out, because you can always get it back. Okay, in future videos, we're going to look at very specific apps and extensions and how they might be useful to you in the classroom.